Cam, for the great introduction. Actually boosted me quite a lot, but like you guys, how you are QAs, I'm a QA by heart, by profession, and I do things like what you guys do, testing, write test cases, write everything we do, right? And I think one of the things which I've learned today is we talked a lot about AI. And yes, everything is good in theory, right? But where do I use it practically, right? So I'm not going to give you guys like, oh, what this agentic AI is. I'm just going to be a normal guy, a QA, talking to my fellow members and see how we go about it, right? So just a brief introduction about me. I have been in this industry for almost 15 years now. I have seen the transition from manual testing to Selenium to test automation frameworks. I think I've seen it, right? And this year I thought, okay, there is something more coming which is fearing in our industry, is the AI, right? So that's where I thought, let's think about something. Now, if you guys have noticed, my talk says Airfryers to AI, right? And my first slide is this one. Like, how many of you don't know what this is? Are you serious? So the reason for me putting this picture is just to get that story going, right? When I came here in 2007, there were very few Indian restaurants where I used to get this, right? And this was one of my favorite snacks when I was in India. And I never knew how to cook. So for me, getting this was like, okay, even though I like cooking, I can't cook it. Every time I tried to fry, it would either get burned or either it will be uncooked, anything like that. So what changed, right? Now, one of my friends in US actually told me you can make the same thing in an air fryer. I'm like, nah, you're joking. Because you actually need oil. It's a deep fried stuff. It won't be crispy. So I was skeptical, like, nah, it will be, but I'll give it a try. So I tried it. And actually, when I tried it, I liked the taste. And believe me, from that day onwards, I've been using air fryer. Even anyone comes to my house now, they don't get the fried samosas anymore. But it's actually the air fryer one. Right. Now, you guys must be saying, are we at the testing talk or the food place? No, we are at testing talk, right? So what I wanted to guys show you, oh, sorry, I went ahead, is consider this, right? When we started our evaluation of cooking as well, what was the first thing we started as humans? Just the fire, right? What was the next thing? The cooking gas. Then we had refrigerators at the same time. Then we had microwaves, right? And now the air fryers, right? So everything kept on evolving, right? And now if you talk to any chefs or anyone in the restaurants, and if you tell them, are you still using the fire like how you used to be? And to be honest, when I go back home, my grandma still uses the fire to cook the food. And I feel like, why waste that much amount of time, right? But what I've learned is if you guys don't evolve, like if the chefs don't evolve themselves using the new tools or utensils or things like that, will you survive, right? When manual testing was at the peak in 2007, 2009, even I was doing manual testing. Right? But in order to move further in my career, what did I have to learn? I had to learn Selenium, right? And I think it was for a better or a worse. I think it was for the better. One thing that teaches me this is, every time we evolved was mostly giving us the better results and less work. Consider the days when we were doing manual testing. Like when I started at Visual Jazz, I had a Holden website, and I think it had 170 pages. And at that time, it was used to be like Chrome and Windows old browser, and we used to go every time and do this, click, see it's looking nice and good. But then when Selenium IDE came in, I loved it. I just recorded it, it would do it, I'll have my coffee, and my job is done, right? So that's what, as QA engineers or QA, we needs to evolve, right? Because this is the biggest fear we have. AI is coming for you. And I think in all the talks I've gone to from morning, this is the question we are looking for. Is it going to take my job? Is it coming for my job? And what I would say, it could be controversial, right? Yes, it is going to be. If you don't start using it, you will be replaced. Nowadays, if you go to Seek or any job market site, how many manual jobs can you find? Or how many places you go and say, you're not an automation engineer, right? How many places we are there? Because that's the practicality of it, right? We don't live in a world where, and I'm just talking from my own experience. I used to find jobs like a QA, and I used to find like, okay, people would put in the JD, okay, do you know Selenium? Do you know this, Cypress, everything? But when I went into the job, it always used to be manual in the end. But we still saying we are automation engineers. So that's something, if we don't evolve with the tools, if we don't do what we want to do, obviously it's going to replace it. So now there are two ways. Either we can adapt or we can panic. And in my experience, and no offense to anyone, people who have been sitting in the orgs for like say 6 years, 7 years, including myself, right? We don't want to change. If there is a change coming, we will resist. Like I have practically faced these problems. And we all know the office politics. Whoever has the higher position can't win against him. If they say manual, it's a manual, even though it's reducing things. But as we want to grow ourselves, I would say we need to adapt. What we need to think is not just what we are doing, right? Just a little bit outside. I'm not saying go and start using AI from now. But in your day-to-day life, what are the tasks you are doing which is repetitive, which is actually like making you feel, why am I doing this? Or I'm doing the same job, right? Try to think of that. Can an AI do that work for you? Most likely the answer would be yes. Sorry. Will AI replace me? Yes, like I said. But if you know the tools, I would definitely say it would not. What it would do is this. U plus AI is equal to, U plus I is your superpower. With the agentic AI or any form of AI, I'm not going into the debate of what sort of AI you use. Even if you use ChatGPT to write the test cases, nothing wrong in that, right? You use Copilot. Like I used to write emails as test manager. I don't write it anymore. I go and tell Copilot, give me a nice email and send it. My work is done. Reports, figures, much more easier. We can write the macros, a lot of things we can do. But in practicality, that work can be done by itself. So you don't have to worry about those. Now, where can you use at your workplace or your current workplaces, whether you are doing web automation, mobile automation, API automation, you can use it everywhere you want. The only thing you need to think about is, where is my repetitive task? Where am I getting bored? What is the actual problem you want to solve? As an example, at my workplace, I had 10,000 test cases. And I think there are a lot of people who have come here who are part of that journey. Last month ago, we threw all the 10,000 test cases. Can anyone guess what's the reason? Duplication is one. Correct. Maintenance. My biggest enemy. 10,000 tests, running it, maintaining it was a nightmare. Plus, guess what? My application is built on Flutter, which has its own unique challenges. I don't have DOM IDs, I don't have anything to click on. It will behave differently in Android, differently on iOS. Plus, nobody supports it. Still, we went with that because it was a single code base. So from the company perspective, it was good. But from the testing perspective, it was a nightmare. So I'll show you what I have done to make it better. I'll just quickly show you a demo of what I have done. And I think we will be able to do it ourselves here. So what I have done is I have used, oh, that's good. I have used Perfecto. So I'm not sure how many of you guys are using, but I was using Perfecto as my device lab, where I will have all my different mobiles version, OS available, web versions available, and things like that. Right? Hopefully my internet works here. So I could select any of them. While it loads, what I'll show you. This is my automation test now. And I'll show you how I built this till that loads. If you look at it, we use the BDD initially. We used to write code, which was 8 to 10 pages, same POM object, same everything. And believe me, I used to say my automation framework is the best. Nobody can break it, right? And I think all the senior automation engineers would say that, irrespective of it. I have one of my good friends in my own company. She's not budging down. She says, nah, we don't need to use AI, but let's use the traditional frameworks. I'm not against it. I'm not against traditional frameworks, but why? But why should I use it? Now, I think I went to Deloitte or one of the booths. There was a question, why do we use BDD? Can anyone tell me, why do we use BDD? Readability, easy to understand for? Okay, tell me how many companies, non-tech people use that framework? Or any of the regulators or any of the people use it. Why have we added that extra complexity? Just to make ourselves happy. Right? But why is the difference? What is the difference for you as a QA in there?
Because you will be able to test it from the perspective of the actual user.
Why was that perspective not in the first place as a QA? When you are doing manual testing, what are you testing as? That's correct. What I'm trying to say is the traditional frameworks exist. I'm not against BDD. In my frameworks, I use BDD, right? So I was one of the ones who used to say, we'll use, for the non-technical people, BAs would help me write, product owners would be able to understand. But in reality, that was never used that way. I just added that complexity layer to my automation framework just to look cool. I know it could be controversial, right? But that is the reality of the world. Good, like I've seen companies, they have said, I'm using Cypress. On Cypress, on top of it, I'm using BDD. Why? Why? And the new shiny tool, right? But then with the BDD, why? It's a shiny tool, yes, use it. Nobody's stopping it. Maintenance problem is there, plus every application changes. There are thousands of developers in our own companies. Everybody changes. We spend a lot of time, right? So the way I looked at it was the same. So let me try if it works really. Okay. Demo gods will be with me, but I'm not sure whether my application will be with me. That's my biggest fear. So if we are doing a mobile testing, right, what is the first thing we would like to do? Yep. So let's say let's see what this does. Do you think? Okay. For people who don't know, RC is just for us, for TAB, it's release cut. So before we go put it into the production and anything, it's RC. That's how we differentiate between production or be ready. So now we can see it's telling me. So this is while building the test, right? Once this is built, I'll show you what that test looked like. So it's telling me, perfect, the search interface is now open. I can see the search field, and it's going to try to search. Tab RC. Oh, here you go. Now let's see if it launches it. Here you go. How many lines of code did I write? One? If I had to write this in automation framework, longer time? Agree? Can anyone write it? Do we need the knowledge of coding? No? Cool. Let's try the next step. Luckily, I've already logged in, but let's see what it does. Yeah, so I forgot to tell you, right, on this one, in Perfecto AI, I'm not trying to sell Perfecto, but what I'm saying is, in Perfecto, there are two things. One is user action, which basically means we are doing swipe, left, right, whatever user action we want to do. And there is another one called AI validation. I was actually surprised with the AI validation more than AI user action. Because if you think from the perspective where we have grown from Selenium to Cypress to everyone, we know what click works, how Selenium is used in the background, how IAPM is used in the background. But it's the AI validation that put me is how to do it. So just let me do a bit of a manual stuff so that I don't bore you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place a bet of, let's say, $10 or $6. Now, do you guys see I've placed a bet, right? If we are a normal QAs or we are writing automation test scripts, what would you validate on that screen that your transaction is successful? What would you validate on? Banner, tick mark, then, okay. What else? Okay. Now, let's say if we are using Cypress or APM, right? And you are an automation engineer. What would you validate? The text, bet placed, status, yeah, the buttons. What else? What are the things you would avoid? Position, correct. What else? Sorry? Amount, yes. That's a changing value. Host name, things like that you will validate, right? If you go to your product owner and say, or a designer, let's say you go to a designer and you say you have validated it, but that tick mark is not there. Is he going to pass the test case? but automation says it's working. That's the thing which I want to take this place to, right? So if you look at it, my validation is there a check mark shown next to the bet placed in a green banner? So if the AI tells me, if able to validate without any doing it, I am validating as a customer. When do we see prod incidents? When a customer complains. That's the lens I want to put into my automation, which gives me the customer perspective. I know the functionality, it's working. We have done the manual testing. I think everybody does the manual testing first before they write the automation code, right? That's the thing we can. So now I can think about automation. Okay, I'm not doing this one just for the sake of it, but I can think, okay, what are the different perspectives from the customer perspective? Am I going to be happy, not happy? That I can debate on. Whether that place is right or not, I can debate on. But at least from the visual perspective, I can validate whether it's a green or right. Whether it's on left side or the right side. I can put it on my Figma and see, okay, it's matching or not. And I don't need to be an expert in writing code for this. It's just one line of code. That's it, is the check mark. And I think as QAs, we are used to writing manual test cases, right? So that's the benefit of using it. So that was that one. Let me go back to my slide. Oh, I would show you one more thing before I go there. So now these things are written, right? But how do you maintain it for different automation frameworks? Or how would you use that in your framework? So how I have done it is I have used Amazon Q, like Copilot or Amazon Q, whatever, to build the normal framework, removed all the complexity, right? And just told him I want to write the test and utilize as much as I can. Only thing I would make you guys, I want to inform, right? When we are typing anything to Copilot or Amazon Q, or when we are asking for things, just know about that, because this guy are bullshitting, right? They make me look so good that I forgot what I actually learned. So first time I tried it, it gave me such a nice documentation, nice framework. When I ran it, I did not know what the hell was happening. And this is a practicality, right? So better to know what you're asking for. If you have done automation frameworks before, we know what we need. We know ins and out of it. We are the specialists for that. That's what we need to ask them to do. So basically, now in my framework, there are only two things: AI user action and AI validation, right? And if you look at my test, this is my test. Sorry, can you guys read it? Is it complicated? It is, right? Sorry? Yeah, that's correct. Now, the complexity came when we went inside this. Because remember, we used to write functions, right? Now look at my function. Navigate to on racing page. That's my function. What does it say? Oops, sorry. Just the keyword which I was typing in when I was trying to write my own test on the perfector, I just took that one sentence and break it down into a programmatic language, because that I know how to use it, right? I can make that robust, because sometimes it could make like spaces are there, something is there, it will break. That's what I put. Now what is this going to do? It's going to go to the perfector, hit that command, give me the results, pass or fail, and execute it. Now if you guys are manual QAs as well, I'm not going to define, like, right? If you guys still doing manual testing, you can still do this. we are writing test cases. These are the exact steps we will be writing. Agree, disagree? Not done for 20 years, but now you can do it. Now you can do it. Right? So, but this code is going to be given by Copilot or Amazon Q. Yeah, so that's what I was trying to say, right? From our day-to-day life where we were in the mix of things where we are used to writing hard-coded stuff, and believe me, I have written it, right? I'll say I have written this, and I have complained myself. After 2 years when I go and look back at my own framework, like what the hell I have written? I can't understand my own code, right? So this is what I have done to make my life easier. So I use Perfecto Scriptless Mobile. I use Amazon Q Developer. Like I heard today, a lot of people use GitHub Copilot and Amazon Q. What I found different with GitHub Copilot, it was only about a specific file which you can use. But with Amazon Q, what I found different was it can go through your entire framework and suggest you. It can give you, go into files each by itself and explain you. And you can form your own context. So definitely I would say try that out. Nothing, just go and talk bullshit to it, but it will give an answer. Any framework you have worked on, ask him to write the same framework with your own understanding, and it will give you. And you will be surprised to see that that framework will not work. Because it will still require your intelligence, how to use it. Where are the things? Where are the domain knowledge? Those things where we specialize as QAs. So this was what I have done. Now what did I achieve by doing this? Right? My old way was, okay, famous BDD, feature files, writing step definition files, page file, helper files, utils. Everybody writes that? Right? That's your traditional framework? Right? Nothing changed? And my new way of writing. 10 lines of code, I can go home, enjoy my coffee. Right? So it is making ourselves used to this. If we don't, somebody else will come and do it for you. And then we'll say, I got replaced by AI. There is no AI here. It is AI in the background, but I'm helping my own self. And that's what I want you guys to do. Help your own self rather than thinking about, oh, AI is going to change, take away my job. Now, if you're selling this to your company or you're going to your stakeholders, why should I pay for AI tools? Obviously, they are going to cost you, right? But this is the exact same thing I showed. To initially build my framework, I would require 2 to 3 FTEs for at least 3 months, just to get to a standard where I can start utilizing it across the organization. My building a test would take me at least 3 to 4 days, even if it's the simplest of automation framework, depending on your application. Don't tell me just go to the home login and check whether the button is green. Nobody does that. That's not the reality. We actually have to put username, password, go through it, validate it. Right? Maintenance. Oh God. I am tired of that. I have a lot of fights just because of the maintenance. Some developer changes an ID because he liked it. I have to fix my test. He is not going to fix. That maintenance effort is 2 to 3 days. And my release time, so especially for my TabCop, I can say, because we cover quite a, actually, I would should say my customer base is old age, right? They gamble a lot. I would not recommend anyone to gamble though, right? But they gamble a lot and they don't want to upgrade. So I have to support a lot of OSs, right? And in order to support that, my release time and making sure that coverage is there, my release time was 10 days. We are doing monthly releases, and I'm not talking about just 10 days with one person. I have a team of 18 QAs. And it's a freaking mobile application. I'm not bringing any science there. I'm doing the same repetitive job. Right? What I achieved with this new one, I built the framework with the use of Amazon Q within a day. This was part of my hackathon, by the way. We built the test in half a day. The reason I'm saying half a day here is because if you use any AI tool, it needs to understand your context. Till it understands your context or your language, that AI tool is of no use. Whether you use Perfecto, you use Applitools, you use ExcelQ, because your language and the LLM language needs to understand. So that the first couple of tests, it will take you half a day. After that, it's like eating bread and jam, as many as you want, till you are satisfied. The best part, maintenance. Developers kept on changing IDs. I don't care. I told them, do whatever you want to do. My maintenance effort literally became zero. So I have been following like 30 test cases, which we wrote with the traditional framework, where we have to spend at least 2 days to maintain every time on a release. But the same test written in this one, no maintenance. Best part, no fights in my QAD, right? Because one likes CSS, one likes XPath. When it comes for peer merging, why did you use my CSS? I am away from that now. So that segment. I have still my same amount of coverage of the OS, web browsers, everything. But my release time has gone down to 3 days. Now, if you sell that to your stakeholders, I can guarantee whatever the cost of the product you use, they'll be happy to play. Because if you put that in numbers, I just did a rough maths, you would at least say like 500K with such a big team on every release. And I'm not just talking about the human numbers, but also look at your infrastructure cost, your cost of debugging, failure, maintenance, everything. If you add it up, it becomes a huge number. Hopefully, I'm not making sleepy. Now, with the superpowers, you become a superhero. I have kids, they said, we cannot have a story without a superhero. So I think everybody can be a superhero in our world. Best question, what do you do in your free time? Right? I have something for you guys. So rather than me telling, I have kids, right? And in India, we used to have called homework. So this is the homework for you guys, right? First thing, go back to your workplace. If you are in the mobile or web browser or wherever, select the most impactful mobile devices and OS version using AI-based usage analytics. Ingredients, the reason I choose ingredients because I'm a foodie guy, so get food everywhere. Any tool does not matter, but get this data, try it out, and see what the difference is between what you're currently doing and how would you do it future. Next one, stabilize, flaky test. I think I have stabilized mine, 20 to 30 tests. Now I don't have that maintenance effort. Go and do the same thing. It could be any AI locator healing you, whether you use Playwright MCP, you use Cypress, everyone is doing some sort of an AI. Try this out. And if you find a solution, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll definitely would love to hear about it. Accelerate release validation. In the end, it's all about, if you are in a product company, it's all about your product and your customers, right? Nobody cares how beautiful your automation code is. Till the point the company is making money, you are making money. If the company is getting bad customer feedback, indirectly it's a loss for you, right? So that's the third one. And if you guys really want to win, Perfecto has given me this nice slide for you to sign up on. So I would really like if you guys can do that. But that's what I would say. Thank you, and keep evolving.